kind of disappointed, and I was really sad about not getting any pictures or anything like that. And then everyone commented on my last video that I should call and see if they have any ultrasounds on file from that day. So I did, and they had some on file, but they weren't very good, and I think they kind of felt bad for me. So they actually had me come in. Our ultrasound was on Thursday, and they had us come in on Saturday to do another ultrasound, but just to get pictures. We weren't going to measure anything or try to find a heartbeat or, anything like that. So it was really nice because we got to go and, see the baby, and they printed off like 5 pictures for us, and we got some really good pictures of the little baby. So that was really fun, and I'm so happy we did that. We put them in little frames, and Eric and I both have one on our nightstand, and it was just really nice. Anyway, so then on Monday, the 29th, we went in for our ultrasound, and, she easily could find the baby, and, but unfortunately, the baby did not have a heartbeat and did not grow, that much. It grew a couple days worth. I think it was measuring at 6 weeks, 1 or 2 days. And at my last appointment, it was measuring at 5 weeks, 6 days. So it did stop growing, and there wasn't a heartbeat. And of course, we were completely devastated. I feel like I bawled that whole day. I just couldn't stop crying. I was so just sad. And of course I call my mom and my sister, and they're both bawling and they're sad. And anyway, it was just a hard day. And the next couple days were pretty hard. I mean, I accepted it, and I really felt the Lord helping me and kind of carrying me, and like helping me accept that the baby had passed away. But I think what was the hardest is, kind of picturing, you can't help but to picture what your baby would have looked like and where our lives would have been in August when the baby was supposed to be due, and, I don't know, whatnot. So you just kind of play that what if game, and I don't know, it was hard. So that's why I didn't make a video a couple days after, just because I kind of wanted to get my act together. It's just, I don't know, the same week I also got a new job it's the same place I work, but just I got to move up, and it was a new position, and I'm super excited. I love the position, but it's a lot of work, and I need a lot of focus, and it's kind of coming down on the same week. So I think it was a good thing that I started this new job and training the same week that we found out, because I really think this is where the Lord helped me, is that I went to work and I didn't feel sad. I was really focused and busy, and then, the drive home and being at home was a little bit, more hard or whatever. So the doctor gave us 3 options. We could wait to see if my body took care of the miscarriage on its own. I could take the Cytotec or Mistoprol, I think is the generic form of it. I'll have to find the bottles to get the exact name for it, but the Cytotec is the actual brand name of the drug, where it helps you pass the baby. Or we could do a D&C. Since we do have to do IVF again, and for all future babies, we don't want any procedures done down there that don't have to be done. The less that has to be done down there, the better, because any risk of scar tissue or anything like that, infection or whatever, just lowers our chances of getting pregnant even more. So we definitely did not want to do a D&C if we didn't have to. So today is Sunday, and I took the Cytotec, probably saying it wrong, on Friday night. And she said if it didn't work, then I would need to repeat the dosage on Saturday night. So Friday night, I took the medication, and she also prescribed me Norco, which is like the new Lortab, I think, and then also 800 milligram ibuprofen, along with Zofran for the nausea. I I thought the Zofran was for the painkillers because those can make you sick, but I don't ever really get sick from them. So I didn't think much of it. I was like, oh, it's nice to have in case I do get sick, but I didn't take it right away. And also I didn't know how quickly the cramping would start, so I didn't take any pain medications until I started cramping a little bit. So I took the 4 tablets of the Cytotec vaginally, and then about 2 hours later, I started to cramp a little bit, but I got the chills really, really bad. It was down to my bones. I could not get warm, and I couldn't stop shivering. My jaw was just shaking. I was so cold. And so, Eric put a couple comforters on me, and I tried to drink some hot chocolate, and, he just held me because I was just shaking. I was so cold. And then I looked up, and that is a side effect of the Mistoprol or Cytotec. So that happened, and then also I started to get a little bit of diarrhea, and then about 45 minutes later, half hour later, the nausea hit. Well, come to find out, the nausea comes from the Cytotec, which I did not know. And so at this point I had taken the painkillers, but I was so freaking sick. Eric got me the Zofran, and I took that. Didn't really do a whole lot. I was so sick I wanted to die. Like, I remember praying that, like, please, Heavenly Father, please let me pass out. Like, I was so ridiculously sick. I've never been so nauseous in my life. My hands went numb, my face went numb, and my feet went numb. I couldn't move my fingers. Oh, and then all of a sudden, it felt like there was cotton in my ears. I couldn't hear anything. It felt like I was going to pass out. And I was hoping for that because I was so sick. And I hadn't eaten anything in a while, which probably hadn't helped with the painkillers and everything because I was supposed to eat that. But I didn't feel good. And oh my gosh, it was the worst 4 hours of my life. I didn't even have a single emotion in me to cry about losing the baby or anything else, or even that I just didn't feel good, because every piece of me was trying to, like, not die. I was so sick, and so nauseous, and then I was having diarrhea, and then the cramps. The real pain started with the cramps. On a scale of 1 to 10, for the pain of my cramps, and the contractions, it was definitely a 10. I couldn't move. My eyes were closed for 2 hours straight because I was just so, I just couldn't do anything. I was so freaking and so miserable. Oh my gosh. Between the nausea, the diarrhea, and then the cramping, it was the most miserable I've ever been in my entire freaking life. And the cramping, the contractions, they would be strong and consistent for about 2 hours. They would start to go down, and before it even was done, another one would come. So I never got any relief. And it was just awful. Oh my gosh, I kept, like, thinking, this has to stop. Like, I have to get some relief. I have to, and I couldn't, that was the other thing, I couldn't talk. I was in so much pain. I was trying to say something, trying to say a word, but nothing could come out. So my mom was there and Eric was there, and they would ask me questions. My mom got there a little bit after and was like, what time did you take a pill? And, so I couldn't even say 5 o'clock. I just held up 5 fingers and hoped they got it, and it was just awful. So it got to the point where I was in so much pain that we asked Eric's dad to come over, and him and Eric gave me a priesthood blessing. And so they gave me a priesthood blessing, and I was on the floor for a lot of the time because I just wanted to be on the bathroom floor. I couldn't move. I don't know. I wasn't in my right mind. I couldn't even really move. Somehow we got to the bed and they gave me a blessing, and poor Eric just started bawling because he, couldn't help me and nothing he could really do. He did run to the store and get me a heating pad, which unfortunately, I was in so much pain, I don't think anything really helped. But he just laid there and cried next to me, and then I felt bad, so I'm like trying to make him feel better. But It was just a horrible night. I'll be honest with you. It was just awful. And not, I mean, I think it was more emotional for Eric than it was for me because I was just in so much pain that I couldn't do anything but lay there and just kind of wiggle in agony. And finally, my mom, so the Norco pretty much did nothing for me. I couldn't feel like anything different. I also took 800 milligram ibuprofen. Nothing. Nothing made it better. So finally my mom left and went and got a Lortab from her house, and she brought over a couple. I took the first Lortab and I kind of choked on it, and then all of a sudden I was like, I knew I was gonna throw up. I was like, no, I have this glorious Lortab. I'm not gonna waste it. So I like sat there for a minute and I just kept saying, I can't throw this up. I can't throw this up. And I couldn't help it. Luckily I had my barf bowl and I did throw up, and my poor husband and mother had to go through my throw up and make sure that the Lortab was in there before they gave me another one. And then they gave me the other one and I was able to keep that down, and the cramping subsided and I felt human. I could talk, I could breathe, I could drink. I, felt human finally after a few hours. So then after, that whole thing. Oh, I also took a warm bath after the blessing. They put me in as hot a bath as I could take, and that did help a lot. I highly suggest that. I still was cramping and in a lot of pain, but it helped kind of calm everything down, and I would get like 1 or 2 seconds in between each contraction, and it helped everything. For all of the pain and contractions I was in though, I was bleeding, but and it was bright red blood when I would wipe, but it wasn't really on my pad. There wasn't a lot going on with that. So I went to bed that night. The Lord tablet helped me sleep great. The next morning I woke up expecting to be in a bloodbath, and there wasn't really much going on. I had no clots. I was barely bleeding at all. Not enough to probably even wear a pad. And so I'm like, well, maybe after I'm up and around, something will happen. But no, the whole day went by, and it now had been 24 hours, and nothing had really changed. So we called my doctor, and she told me to repeat the dose. But this time, since I had such a horrible night, Friday, told me to take the painkillers first, wait a half hour, then take the Cytotec and the Zofran, and then, just have the heating pad and a bath ready, basically. So we did all of that, and that was all last night, and I kept waiting for the chills to come. I kept waiting for the cramping and the nausea, and nothing happened. I never started cramping. I never started bleeding more. I never got sick. Nothing happened. So I hate to say this, but I'm still have the baby and the lining and everything is still inside me. So we called the doctor called me today to check up on me, and we told her what happened, and unfortunately we have to go in this next week and we'll have to do a D&C. I guess there's a 10% chance that the Cytotec doesn't work, and we fall in that 10%. Anyway, so this was a longer update than I wanted it to be. I just felt bad that I hadn't put anything up, and there was a ton to update. So as of right now, we still haven't passed the baby. I did pass some tissue this morning. I kind of just sat on the toilet to go pee, and it just kind of fell out, and it was really awkward and weird. But it was just a little bit of tissue. It wasn't there was no blood. If anything, today the bleeding's gotten less. There's hardly anything there. It's the last day of a period, or spotting. And so since I haven't had any heavy bleeding or clotting or anything like that, they do think I'm going to have to do a D&C, which I just so don't want to do. I just really was hoping that we could just pass it on our own at home. And anyway, so as of right now, we're going to go into the doctor and see what she thinks. She said today, as of, right now, she thinks we're going to have to do a D&C, but we'll talk more, because I'm kind of hoping, I don't know if we can wait a week and try it again. And this time I just won't do the painkillers first, because the first time it seemed to work just fine. I don't know. But also, people do D&Cs all the time and they have no trouble getting pregnant later anyway. I just don't want to chance it since